everybody. Um, I'm actually very shy. uh, okay. So I prepared a talk on hacking distribution for Web3 products. That's because if you look at how like the Web3 landscape is set up, I feel like one of the things that Web3 like companies, founders, and startups struggle with the most is distribution. That is, how do I take these products that I've built? How do I put it in the hands of the people that need them, people I have built them for? So basically, that's what we're going to be talking about. It's going to be very basic. It's a primer, it's sort of like an intro into Web3 growth and marketing. Okay, so how do we build products that people want to use in Web3? And how should these products be distributed? Okay, so I knew that people were going to be tired and I don't want to lose you guys. So I prepared a short game. I hope you guys are paying attention. I really hope I have your attention. Okay. Okay, so I want you guys to count the number of F's that you can see in the statement below. Anybody? Okay, I can hear 3, 4, 5, 6. How many people? How many people picked 3? Where did you see 7? Okay, okay. So yeah, the accurate number is actually 6. Okay, yes, let's count together. Let's count together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Where did you see 7? Okay, okay, okay. Yeah. Now that I have your attention, um, yeah, these are like the basic stuff that we're going to be discussing. Web 1, Web 2, and now Web 3. What's the hype? Um, so what exactly makes a product a Web 3 product? What are the things you should know before going to market with your Web3 products? Um, Tactics, strategies, and opportunities in going to market in Web3, and then hacking and scaling distribution in Web3. So I'm guessing that the previous speakers, I think they've done like a good job of talking about how like Web3 came to be, what the internet used to look like, and what we have today. So yeah, basically, Web 1 was when the internet started, right? People could only go to like web pages and then read. If you wanted to leave a comment, say you've seen like a blog post, if you wanted to leave a comment, you could not. You would have to like email the person, like the owner of the blog, because you could only read. And that was what Web 1 was about. And then there were like improvements made to the internet, and people could now read and comment. And that's why you can easily use social media apps like Facebook. You can talk to your friends, you can leave a comment, etc, etc. But the problem with that was most of um, the power basically lied with like the owners of these platforms. Today, if Elon Musk doesn't like you, he can kick you off Twitter, right? True or false? Yeah. And then Web3 came and said, no, this should not be. You don't necessarily need to like your user. You don't need to like the things they are saying. They should still be able to use your products, and that's like the major gist of Web3. That's decentralization. Everybody has a say. Everybody gets to have a say. Um, and then another thing with Web2 is the most of the people that are making money are like the founders of these platforms, and they are making money off of the data that you are putting on the platform. So Web3 is saying, users should also be able to make some money from the value that we're able to accrue from these platforms. So with Web3, value is usually shared. between the users, the developers, the early adopters, etc, etc. Everybody gets something at the end of the day. So that's the hype with Web3. Um, so this is the, if you look at this, if I don't, how many marketers are here? Okay, so you are familiar with this image. You know, like currently, you start from awareness, then you are able to garner some interest in your product, and then you go on to convert before you now start thinking of retaining your users on your platform. Um, Okay, so how is Web3 different? What makes a product a Web3 product? Um, Basically, one word: tokens. Tokens. Um, I'm sure this is not the first time we're hearing of the word tokens. I don't know if there's anybody who is just hearing of tokens in this room. Is there anybody? Okay, you've all been listening. So there is something called network effect, right? Network effect is, you can think of it as a sort of multiplier effect where people get to like know about your product, and then it just goes on and on and on and on, and you keep getting like users and users and users. Think of platforms like, okay, think of social media apps, think of the current fintech apps that you use. So basically, as a founder or as a builder, right, you're thinking of how to get enough people to use your product such that there is a network effect where like everyone tells the next person, and they tell the next person, and they tell the next person to come and use your product. So in order to replicate that, Web3 needed um something to sort of start that, and that's where like tokens are useful, right? So basically, you hear of a project, they have a token, their ICO is coming up, you want to be a part of it because you know that you make some money, right? So um that's like the importance of tokens. And that's like one way Web3 products are different. I There is currently, I don't think there's any Web2 products that has a token. I don't think so. But with Web3, you know that you can, for example, think of Binance has the, I think BS. What's, yeah, yeah, okay, thank you. Think of MakerDAO with their DAI token. So think of like platforms like that, Optimism. Like, you know that for every Web3 product that has like gone mainstream, they always want like their users to like be part of the owners through tokens. So yeah, um, basically, summarily, what we're saying is, for Web2 products, when they are trying to go to market, they basically start their teams. Like, they tell their sales and marketing team to, come up with marketing campaigns to attract users. But for Web3, they are the gist for Web3 is, how do we get people to come on this platform and to also get like some benefits of coming on this platform through tokens. Um, right? Okay, so now I'm I'm a founder or I'm a marketing person in a Web3 company. What should I know before even going to the market? So I think one of the first thing that you should think about is, I feel like I've abandoned the people on this side of the stage. I'm so sorry. Yeah, so the first thing you should think about is, what stage of development is my product? Have I found a solution that actually works for the market I'm trying to build for? So these are like the major stages of development. So first is the product solution fit, where there is a problem and you're trying to think of different solutions to that problem. Then you've found a product, you built your MVP, then you go to product market fit. So now you're trying to see if what you've built is actually what people need. and if they are going to use it. So that's where you do things like beta testing, etc, etc. You get on customer discovery calls. And then the next stage is now growth. So now I've seen that people like my products, they want to use it. So how then do I go from, okay, I have 10 users today, how can we get to 50 users tomorrow, and then 100 next tomorrow, and then on and on and on like that. Um, and then market leadership. Okay, so we have 10K users based in Nigeria. We should start thinking of exploring other markets. Um, yeah. And then think of how to retain those users that we currently have such that we're dominating in the markets basically. And then the last stage is now scale, where you're trying to enter new markets, you're trying to go from Africa to North America, South America, etc. Uh, okay, so question 2 is um, you've determined what stage you are at. The products you're building, you've determined the stage you're at. And then you're now trying to find out, so what metrics matter most at this phase, right? And then number 3 question is how are we planning to make money from this product or service or not, if the was not to make money in the first place. um okay. And that's because depending on when you answer these 3 questions, you're going to be able to now determine how like you will even go to market. Different products have different go to market strategies that would best work for them depending on what the product is supposed to do and how the product is supposed to make money. So a good example is think of marketplaces and exchanges like Binance, Bundle, which other ones do you know? Other exchanges do you know? Quidax, Coinbase, etc. So a typical Quidax or Coinbase would not want to launch today, and then the first thing they are doing is they are looking for gaming guilds, right? Like there's a mismatch, right? Because the way like your product's supposed to function, and the people who are supposed to use it is not matching your go-to-market approach. So how so in answering the 3 previous questions that we've listed before, is going to help you figure out how to go to market, how to address your users, etc. So for DeFi apps, a key metric for success for them is total value locked. Right? So if they were to want to go to market, they would think of how to get their token listed on exchanges, how to get people to exchange that token so that it can increase the value in the market can increase, and the volume of their tokens being traded would also increase over time. For DAOs, right? DAOs are like communities that come together for a purpose. So a DAO would not want to launch and be thinking of listing a token on an exchange. Like it just doesn't make sense. They are rather thinking of getting like other like-minded people like them who believe in their purpose, and that's how they are thinking of going to the market. Um, and then for layer 1, layer 2 blockchains and protocols, they are, thinking of getting like developers, building their developer ecosystem, getting more forks, etc, etc. Um, so yeah. Okay, so basically strategies, tactics for going to market in Web3. A very popular one that I'm sure that everybody in this room knows is airdrops, right? And that's when you're thinking of organizing like a promotion to get people to want to get on your platform early enough through like rewarding them with some tokens, some rewards through airdrops. For products that are developer focused, they are thinking of setting up developer communities, giving them grants, organizing hackathons, so that these developers that they've built for can easily and quickly get on the platform and start building products with their platform. A very understated go-to-market and growth strategy in Web3 is also events. Um, I'm very certain that there are brands here that would want to, talk to people here about what they do, how they do it, and how their product can benefit you. Like events is a very big thing in Web3. Like it's a big part of how Web3 products grow. Um, Meme competitions. I feel like last year, 2 years ago, when NFTs were like really, really trending, you saw like a lot of these where they wanted to see like your creativity, how you can rep their NFT, etc. Sorry. Okay, so hacking distribution in Web3, right? This is like the main thing. Number one is widespread education. Think of every Web3 products that you use today and think of how you got to know about the products enough to want to use it. There must have been intentional education where they are showing you how to use the product, why to use the product. A brand that I think does this really well is Binance. Like I think that in every like local community that you get to, you would discover that there are like local Binance groups where like the major purpose of existence is just to like educate like new users, potential users, etc. Um, Also communication. There's a lot of technicality in Web3. There's a lot of jargon. So if you're talking to your users and you're just talking like technicalities, nobody understands you. They are thinking, okay, we've heard you, but what's like the value in it for us? Um, so communication should it should spur like action, right? They should be able to understand you, and then they should be able to understand what it is you want them to do with the information you are passing. um then next is community led marketing. um Community, I think, so the previous speaker spoke about community, right? Yeah, okay. So community is like really important, is a really important way to scale distribution and growth in Web3. Um, Next is the user experience. I don't think we talk enough about user experience in Web3. A lot of like Web3 products are complicated to get on. Like the initial hurdle that you need to who come on your platform and they don't even understand like, okay, what am I to do, what button am I to press, am I to even press a button? Like once they come and they don't understand all those things, they just drop it, and that's it. You've lost a user like that. So you should really think about user experience. And then I think next is also on community, right? But as your product grows, as you get more users, you should. I feel okay. So most Web3 products, when they are launching, they release like a what's it called? Like a list of the activities and how they are going to grow. They'll tell you, oh, between January to March, this is what we're going to be doing. So you should constantly refine that, right? Where you're constantly taking your users on a journey, you're taking your community members on a journey, and you're sort of helping them understand what you're doing at every point in time. And last but not least is market conditions. Web3 products were built for people. They are being built for people, right? They are not going to be used by robots. And these people, they also have like external factors that weigh in on them. So, for example, think of the bull versus the bear market, where in the bear markets, people are just like, nobody wants to really explore, right? So you should also think of market conditions when you're like building, because it can just be like, it could be that it's not like people don't want to use your product, but current market conditions dictate otherwise. So people like stay back from using your product. So you should greatly think of how market conditions would affect your products when building, in trying to build and scale in Web3. Okay. So I've come to the end of my talk. I can see that people are tired and they are asking for a break already. So I don't want to bore you guys too much. But some really, right? I think um, as people are building in Web3, they should think of like the end users. You're not building for robots, you're building for people. So you should always have a people first approach when building, because that is going to have like a big impact on how you're able to go to market and scale, right? Um, so distribution should be your core focus. And when that's your core focus, you're thinking of the people that are going to use it. You're thinking of the user experience. You're thinking of the community. You're thinking of what people would gain from using your product. Um, so currently, a lot of work still needs to be done in making Web3 attractive to like outsiders. I think somebody was asking the other time how many people's moms and dads use like Web3 products. And I'm guessing that a big hurdle in that is the current user experience, the current technicalities. So yeah, Web3 founders and builders like yourselves should continually think of how to solve these challenges in trying to scale for Web3 products and in trying to expand the current Web3 user base. There's something Web2 companies use a lot. They say you're building for the next 1 billion users. So yeah, I think in Web3 we should also start thinking of building for the next 1 billion users. So how am I as a founder, you should think of how am I thinking of building for the next 1 billion users in Web3. And that's the end of my talk.